Okay, and we're live there. Awesome. Very cool. Let's see what we got here. Things are happening. Okay, this is really happening now. We're getting ready. We're going to press a button. It's 10 o'clock. It's time for Ask a Traffic Cop. And today we have a special guest. We have Logan, who's sitting in the green room. Is it a green room officially? I think it is. Let's bring him in. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Sean? Long time.
You know what? Yeah. It's not just these static pictures of you getting ready for poster art.
Yes. Well, I was getting to a point yesterday. I'll tell you. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of fangirling here. I mean,
fangirling.
Yes, fangirling. I mean, the only thing that can make this better is if Ryan Reynolds came in, and then wow, it would. I mean.
Well, you know, it's awesome. You've been doing this for, not in the same format, but you've been doing the TikTok thing with Kendra and Safe Communities for a long time now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'd say probably 3 years now, I think. 3.5 years probably.
Is it that long?
It took a while to get into it, but I think I'm pretty comfortable, I think.
Well, both you and the beard are making waves. You know,
I'm not one without the other. You know, it's either all of it or none of it.
That's too funny. Well, this is awesome. I don't think we've ever done a guest on TikTok exactly this way. And just to make sure, can everybody hear everybody? Can everybody out in the interwebs actually hear both myself and Logan? Just making sure. I'm looking for that. We got Morgan's taken says it's a good beard, and Colin Hartner says okay, good. Master technician has heard everything. And says hello from Peterborough. And hi says good morning, which is awesome. So let me get a couple of pieces of business out of the way. First off, my name is Sean Shapiro, and this is Ask a Traffic Cop. This is the Traffic Services channel, and we are the traffic unit for the Toronto Police Service. We handle collision response and investigation, Highway Traffic Act enforcement, and a whole bunch of other specialty things out of this building. And of course, we're the people who do the education stuff. We talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police topics in general. And that's pretty awesome. So we do that. And then Logan, what is your official thing?
Great question, Sean. So my official thing here in the beautiful, bountiful city of Brooks, Alberta. So there's a bit of a connection issue here between Ontario and Alberta. I am a community peace officer here in Alberta. So that would be the equivalent of a special constable in Ontario. And like Sean, my focus area here in the city of Brooks is traffic enforcement and keeping our streets as safe as possible, whilst also doing these babies.
Doing the TikToks and the everything. Yeah. And we are currently broadcasting on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, Instagram. Where else? I think we've covered it. I've looked at all the logos. I think I didn't read them in order, but that's where we are. And if you're watching and you want to ask a question, you can certainly do that. Now, you can do something like Big Jeff Fresh did, who's coming in from YouTube, who said, hey-o. And we have Wallace March, who says, happy Friday, gentlemen. And hears us both loud and clear, which is amazing. We've got CJ, who's taking questions out of the chat on TikTok and putting them in here, like this one. We've got, hi, how long in patrol before you can apply to a more specialized unit, specifically traffic services? It's a fantastic question. And I believe it's from Hi. That's actually a user. It is. It's from the username. I got two different windows going here. Lots of computer screens.
Yes.
And the answer is we actually have a class of new recruits who are starting with us. Historically, it had to be about 5 years on the road before you can go into a specialty. But we've also had officers, depending on, the flavor of the week, sometimes we have officers starting directly with us, and sometimes they go to the division first. It all depends on what we can do and how we can do it. How about, things like ETF, though? Or police dog services, they need to have a lot more experience. They don't start there. But it's a fantastic question from Hi. And Patrick, this is a great one to get in. Patrick says, good way to spend the taxpayers' money, send our money to, there's some grammatical issues with the question or statement, but basically, if I'm reading verbatim, it's good way the taxpayers send our money on TikTok. I'm sure it was a typo, but what they're keying into is the fact that we are both paid by our respective employers to be on TikTok and other social media platforms to answer traffic and police questions.
It's a great comment. I completely agree with him. It is a great way to spend taxpayers' dollars because it's a way that we can give back to our community to teach them and show them the right way of doing things. And it's not often where you can have these platforms where members of your community can come and genuinely ask questions about things they want to know. So absolutely, I 100% agree with that comment.
I'm not sure if they meant it as a positive or a negative. That's up for it's up for debate. But in any
I'm
way,
always taking things too nicely, Sean.
you know what? It's good. It's good. It's we should always err on the side of it's a good
right?
thing.
Glass half full kind of guy.
Absolutely. I don't know what's going on. Sometimes you're a little bit pixelated. Sometimes you're clear. So things are happening with your feed, but we hear you loud and clear. So despite the fact that some people might have a mosaic, you may have a mosaic look to you for some people.
Because I'm a ginger, Sean.
That's what it is. I've got. Although I'm getting a little white in the beard, but
Yes.
and then now I can't really say beard. It's facial stuff, but it's not a beard. You have a properly formed and manicured beard. I must say I'm impressed.
Thank you.
And Big Jeff. Oh, here's a question from Wallace March, who says, "Are all Alberta peace officers armed now?"
That's a really good question. So the Alberta Sheriff's Branch are considered peace officers, and they are armed. Commercial vehicle enforcement is also now a part of the Sheriff's Branch in Alberta. They are armed. Peace officers, community peace officers like myself, we are currently not armed. So we're doing some traffic stops without a nice little chunk on our side. But you know what? I almost think that's a good thing, because it makes, I feel like some officers, when they have that gun on their side of their hip, it's very easy to become complacent and to rely solely that you have that in the case of an emergency, where, when we approach a vehicle or when we stop a vehicle, we take that little extra time to focus on the driver to make our checks. So I kind of like not having it. I kind of feel like a little UK over here.
I'm in, you know what? I have mixed emotions, because traffic stops are very, very dynamic and can be very dangerous. So that is definitely different way of thinking. Like here,
we fly by the seat of our pants here in Alberta, Sean. Seat of our pants.
Pants, and but at least you have pants. They do issue you pants.
Yes, they're tight, but I have them.
Mine, yeah, I start off with a size, and they fluctuate in tightness. They shrink and grow. I don't know why that happens.
511s that stretch.
Right. Very good. Now we've got a couple of questions that have popped in. And by the way, if you want to ask questions on any platform other than Twitter, you can do that. If you're on Twitter, go to trafficcop.ca, jump onto one of our other platforms. YouTube is possibly the best one. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit that follow, subscribe, and the little bell so you get notified when we go live and post new content. If regardless of how you're watching or where you're watching, please do follow and subscribe, like, and all that jazz, because we want to be able to help more people. And we do have people in here. There's let's see here. Lots of people. The questions are coming in fast and furious. I see the scroll of the chat. And thank you. We've got the assistance of CJ, who is taking questions out of the TikTok so we can actually answer them. Before we get too deep into things, I want to just do some business that I have to do, and that is I have to talk about the Vision Zero enforcement team. Are you guys a Vision Zero or similarly a minded community where your aim is to have zero fatalities and zero serious injuries on your roads?
100%. We don't utilize that acronym, but we do definitely strive to do that every day.
Every day. Well, today, our Vision Zero enforcement officers, we have a dedicated team that go out into the community, and they go specifically for the big four. Now, our big four are speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving. And of course, those are tall, silos. There's a lot of charges that make up aggressive driving, like running stop signs and failing to follow, directions on street signs and just being aggressive. Anything that can be considered aggressive is aggressive, because that's what it's called. In any case, they're in two divisions today. They go and augment the work being done by the people who are actually assigned to those divisions. So we have 31 Division and 41 Division. All right, you know what I did? I was preparing for today, and I made a little, look at this. I'm so on top of things. Those are communities, neighborhoods within those two divisions, like Black Creek, Humbermead, Downsview, Humber Summit, Dorset Park, Kennedy Park, Birchcliff, and Cliffside. And I like to say that these are neighborhoods where people live, work, and play. They deserve to be safe in those communities. And when you're driving through or you live there, whatever the case is, if you're engaged in this kind of driver behavior that we know leads to serious injury and death on our roads, you're part of the problem. And these officers are looking to have a conversation with you, issue you a ticket, and hopefully change your behavior. Just saying.
What Sean said.
With that out of the way, we can get back to stuff and things, talking about the questions that people have. And I know that some of them have popped in here and are now on screen, or will be on screen in just a second. Here we go. we have a question from Raleigh, who says or asks, is it a violation to use the phone in hand while driving, even for navigating? Well, this is going to be very interesting. One of the things that I want to highlight in today's show, so excited to have you on here, Logan, because you guys are a lot more expensive. Like, your fines are way higher than that of Ontario fines.
It's funny you say that on this question, because you are higher than us on this question.
On this one? Okay.
On this one.
But on other ones, so this is going to be, we should be keeping a scoreboard because this is awesome. So cell phone ticket, a charge for distracted driving, which in Ontario is going to be a handheld communication device, being used, a handheld entertainment device being used, or a screen visible to driver, which could be someone else's phone or an entertainment device of some kind that's visible. So some people, it could be playing a movie on your dashboard, it could be anything. But here's the deal. For this one, yes, navigation screen is legitimate. However, not when it's in your hand. You can have the screen visible if it's mounted to your dashboard or mounted to a phone holder, and you can look at it, but you can't touch it, you can't interact with it, you can't do anything beyond looking at the navigation window. It means setting your destination before you get out on the road. So it is a violation. It's a $615 charge, comes with 3 demerit points and 3-day suspension on your first conviction, goes up from there, and it's not a fun situation to get that ticket. So what is it for you guys?
So here in Alberta, if you are caught distracted driving, and this is a great example because we do see this quite often where people are using their handheld phone for the purposes of GPS. Mm-hmm. So it's a $300 fine here in Alberta.
It's a discount, bargain.
Yeah, a bit of a discount. And upon conviction, 3 points. The problem in Alberta now is when insurance companies are finding out about it, they will flag you as a high-risk driver, either suspend your insurance, or jack your rates up so high that you can't afford insurance. There's been plenty of news articles out here in Alberta where people are trying to go buy new vehicles and can't because no insurance companies will touch them because they have a distracted driving charge on their record. So, yeah. And, I actually, a couple of years ago, it only used to be $287 for the fine. So
ours started off as $1.25, I think, and has gone up considerably and continuously because people aren't getting the message.
Yeah.
And it's something that we should all have figured out long ago, but it's a bit of an addiction. I know that people have an issue taking this out of their hands. And I do love, you must see this all the time too. I'm on speakerphone. I'm not using the phone. I'm on speakerphone. And I can't tell you how many people believe that that's speakerphone. But let me ask you this, because I've heard this from many, many people. Yeah. Is using your is drinking water permitted or drinking beverage permitted in Alberta while driving?
So that's a really good question. We get this a lot, especially with coffee, good old Tim's coffee. There's nothing at face value against the law about drinking your coffee or a Coke or a water while you're driving. Now, if you're sitting there and you're pouring the cream and the sugar and you're stirring it up, we got a problem. We got distracted driving on our hands. But if it's a simple act of picking up a coffee from your cup holder, taking a swig, like I can do that and not even take my focus off the road.
For sure.
So again, at face value, nothing wrong with it. If you spill your hot coffee, the first thing you want to do is, do the old pat the lap thing. Can turn into a distracted driving incident, right? So
would that be distracted? Because in Ontario, that would be a careless driving charge. Not because distracted for us is specifically those 3 parameters. And if it's coffee or drink or having a full-on 3-course meal with knife and fork, that would be careless driving because it negatively impacts your ability to focus on the road and drive safely.
So we have a section in our distracted driving section under the Traffic Safety Act that speaks to eating, drinking, and other things, whether it's makeup or not. Yeah. Now, again, though, if when you're doing that, if you end up failing stop signs, you're going over the speed limit, then we can look at careless driving on our side of things under the Traffic Safety Act as well. But if we just witness you doing the act of, I got a guy not long ago eating a burger, steering with his elbows.
Oh, hey, that's not what could be wrong with that.
Under our laws, right? So now, if he blew a stop sign and he was speeding doing it, we could look at careless.
Interesting. What is your so we've already talked about what the cost of your or what are the fines for distracted. What are the fines and what's the charge for careless driving? Because in Ontario, that's going to be $490 and 6 demerit points.
So we must have the same demerit point system. So we're $567 for careless and 6 demerit points upon conviction.
Interesting. This is going to be interesting because we're going to go through this all. Well, how about this? Because this is probably going to be one of the biggest differences. I think you're much higher on speed. like the
I
the
think
fines
so.
for speeding. So
Yeah.
let's get into that in just a couple of seconds. Let's go to a question from Tasha. If you have a headlight out, is it a big ticket? Okay, well, Tasha, in Ontario, you have to have 2 headlights and 1 taillight as a minimum. So if you have 1 headlight out, is it a big ticket? In Ontario, it's $110 for improper headlight, and there's no demerit points in relation to that. But it's a ticket, and really, you should be looking at your headlights. And when you, my suggestion would be when you change one, change both. So if you have one go out, change both, because otherwise you're going to change one, the other one's going to go out in a short period of time because they were likely purchased at the same time. So that's my advice. And yeah, 110. So Logan, what's the story for headlights out?
So any burnt light really in Alberta is roughly about an $89 ticket per bulb. So you got us a little higher on that one.
What? That's shocking.
Yeah. We're a little generous on that one. So,
Okay.
But,
Well,
and yeah, no points with that because it's not a moving violation, so to speak. So.
Well, oddly enough, and this may be different in Alberta, but I've had the opportunity to speak to some insurance professionals from the Insurance Bureau of Ontario. And is it Ontario? Am I making that up? Let's see here. So I have the information here no, it's Insurance Bureau of Canada. And they were saying that they don't much care about points. The points are about the ministry deciding when to send you a letter telling you that you are a terrible driver and need to make some improvements and changes in your life, and when to suspend you and send you for remedial instruction. But for the insurance policies or companies, they look at major and minor. They have different categories. And if you get 3 tickets that are minor, they basically put you in the next category up anyway. They count it as a major. So if you don't pick your driver's license and put it in your pocket and you're driving and you get a ticket for no driver's license, you do that a number of times, you're still going to put yourself in a high-risk category because you can't follow rules and you obviously don't respect the rules, or you have a memory where you don't know where your wallet is. It's interesting. Things that are interesting. I find it interesting. Hey, just to remind people who may be new to the channel, my name is Sean Shapiro. This is Logan from Alberta. And you didn't bring your cowboy hat.
I'm inside. I didn't think I was gonna. I could have someone go grab it.
That's okay. There's if you look at the artwork for it, you're wearing your album art. You're wearing your cowboy hat. And I got to say, I'm a little jealous because we have baseball caps now. We have forage caps historically, and we still use those for dress. But that cowboy hat is cool. I would wear that.
Killing it.
If they let me wear a cowboy hat, I would.
Well, we do the baseball caps as well, but
okay.
Something about being here in southern Alberta with the rodeos and everything else. We like our cowboy hats.
Yeah. Do you have a horse?
We all have a little Yellowstone running through our blood. So we're so close to Montana. I mean, there's no difference.
Same, but different.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you don't already follow us, please do. Now, I need to put in you. Now, you've got your safe communities on TikTok. You're a variation of that on Twitter and I imagine Instagram. So we'll put some captioning up in a little bit so people can follow your channels. But you do basically what I do in Ontario. You guys do it for Alberta, and I love it. We've been having back and forths for quite a while now, but this is the first time we're doing a live this way. We tried a while back and had a total fail with technology, being on each other's lives using the TikTok.
You did crash one of our lives before, and it was still to this day the best moment of my life. I mean, birth of my first child, whatever. Getting married,
in comparison. I'm
seeing
glad.
Sean Shapiro on my phone. Done.
I'm sure your wife loves that you just said that.
Oh, she does. She would agree. Look at you.
Oh, she would agree.
We listen to you every night for bed, and you slowly put us to sleep.
I'm going to start taking requests. I'll read stories for bedtime.
You should. You read the HTA. I'll read the TSA for Christmas, and
Perfect.
We'll do it 12 days of Christmas.
Well, we'll have to do a mashup of some kind. So if you're not already following us, please do on whatever channel you're doing. Please share the live. If you're on TikTok, you can tap that screen until your fingers go numb. That helps. And it's not because we don't get any creator fund. This is not something, we're not trying to make money online. We are trying to get the message out about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And speaking of police stuff, first let me say that Emma says hello from Camrose, Alberta.
Hello, Emma.
And I don't know where Camrose is. Where is Camrose in relation to where you're at?
Camrose is probably about 2 hours, 3 hours to the northwest. Yeah. I've never been there personally, but it's a small little community and it's a beautiful community.
Right, I've got to come out and visit at some point.
We have
Sheila I'm going to make an attempt at saying her name correctly. Fauche. Let's put it up on the screen. She is coming in through your Facebook because we're
That's
all linked
awesome.
up and we're live streaming on your Facebook too. It should be because what does it say? This whoa. It should be because of one's out your look like a motorbike at night and can be misgauged. I am not understanding exactly what you meant. Maybe there's more. I'm going to scroll back because maybe I'm taking things way out of context here. No, I'm not picking up what's being put now. Okay, Sheila starts off by saying here, because there's multiple messages. So how do you provide proof of use? Is it by hearsay? He said we're talking, I think, cell phones. I think we're talking about cell phones. And I think we're talking about proof. Okay. I'm really want to answer your question, but I'm not sure. So are we talking about, like, if we make observations of someone using their cell phone while they're driving, do we need proof, like a photograph, or can we make notes that we saw you? I think that's where we're going. I'm guessing, Sheila, please correct me if I've gone off on a tangent and misunderstood what you're asking. But the deal is that if we make observations, police officers and community constables, am I saying that right? Community council? What?
Peace officers. Community peace officers. You got it.
Peace officer. We're just going to call you.
Peace officers is what we also go by. So
okay. So So if we now we got more. Okay. And Sheila says hello from Newell County, Newell County.
Newell County. Okay. That's our county that surrounds us here in Brooks.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. So now we're talking about headlights. So if you're in a car with one headlight out, then essentially at night you can't gauge the distance an object in front of you, so you have one headlight out. You look like a motorcycle. Now I get it. So we're not talking about distracted driving at all. We're not talking about cell phones. We're talking about how do we gauge whether it's one light or two. The deal is, though, it does really change the way people assume. They assume it's a motorcycle off in a distance, and then it turns out it's a car 10 feet in front of them. It's totally different.
Taking it up an entire lane.
Yeah. Well, the headlight is a problem. But so what's the deal? So you said it was at discount. It's only $89, right?
I believe it's $89. Yeah, last to my memory, it's about $89.
Yeah. So. At the end of the day, check and change your stuff. Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
We got the AOK sign from Joe. That was a big roundabout
we
thing.
Got there, though.
We got where we needed to go. Okay. Here's a question: are Albert's peace officers trained to utilize an ASD in so impaired investigations? Do you arrest for impaired driving?
That's a really good question. So recently in Alberta, a lot of our impaired laws have gone provincially. So we have something called provincial sanctions. So if there is no criminal element in place in regards to the impaired, they get provincial sanctions put upon them. I think BC does it already. So now that it is provincial, there is talks of getting us, the ASDs, to start doing alcohol screenings. We do a lot of 24-hour suspensions for alcohol and cannabis. But as far as administering the alcohol screening device, it's coming down the pipe.
So it's a unique situation because here we'd be arresting someone for that, and we don't have special constables doing traffic stops. So in this regard, we're very different into how we approach those things. It's fascinating to see how different provinces approach different issues. Let's see.
Matt, and that's the funny thing, because I'm from Ontario. I grew up in Cornwall, moved to Ottawa, was there for 5 years, and when I was looking to kind of broaden my horizons, Alberta has probably more law enforcement agencies than any other province.
Really?
So, yeah. So it was a no-brainer to come here, actually.
Well, I got to say, since you've gone by way of recruiting, I got to drop the message that Toronto Police Service is currently hiring. If you are interested in becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service, visit www.tps.ca/careers. We're looking for police constables, special constables, parking enforcement officers. Civilian jobs are posted regularly. So if you want to have, I guess, less nice weather than Alberta, but different background, we have a CN Tower. Check us out and get.
We have our own little Grand Canyon here, so
you have a Grand Canyon-esque experience.
Yeah, it's pretty much Dinosaur Provincial Park. Beautiful. It looks like the Grand Canyon. I 100%. But fun story though. We lost one of my best friend, actually, who's from Ontario. He was a peace officer here with me. He is now with you at TPS.
Really?
So you are hiring, and you hire the best.
Okay,
So
good to know. So Matt Black, C43 guy, says, can a G1 driver be accompanied by a person with a suspended license? Question for Toronto Police. Thank you for specifying who you were asking. G1 is what our learner's permit system is. It starts at G1, where you have to be accompanied by a qualified G-class driver, and the answer is no. The supervising driver can't be suspended. They have to be a licensed driver in good standing. They have to have 4 years experience, and they must be sober. They have to have less than 0.05 BAC. 0.05, yes, BAC, in order to do that. And but it's a fantastic question, and I'm glad you asked it, because I don't think anyone's ever asked that particular question before. How does it work for you guys? You have a totally different learner's permit system.
It's kind of the same way. So we have a Class 7 graduated driver's license, which is the equivalent of your G1, and then we do what we have a graduated driver's 5, and then we have a full Class 5. So while you are a Class 7, you can actually get your driver's license here in Alberta at 14 years old.
Yeah.
As you are a Class 7, you cannot ride with someone who is a supervisor. They have to be a minimum of 18 years old and have a full Class 5 license, no suspensions, nothing like that. Of course, same alcohol restrictions. And if you're not, it's a $324 ticket and 2 points off your license. And where we are here in Brooks, that's probably one of our biggest issues we have
is people who are driving without the appropriate. Well, here's a fun thing to talk about with this G1 driver business. So first off, if you have a learner's permit in Alberta and you're 14 and you visit Ontario, your learner's permit is not valid. You have to be at least 16 years old to drive here. I don't know how I feel. I don't think I would have made a very good driver at 14. I don't know how I feel about that. But
I think the reason you do that here is because we have, especially in Southern Alberta, it's all farmers. Farms are everywhere. So you're getting a lot of kids driving their parents' trucks. So I think that's pretty much one of the big reasons why they dropped that driving age down here. So
I think if everyone needs it, and you got to be working by the age of 16 because you're helping out at the farm, then I guess getting you taught how to do it safely early. In Toronto, I think that would be a recipe for disaster, but that's just me.
Yes.
So here's the deal. G1 driver who is out driving in the passenger, let's say the scenario where the passenger is a suspended driver. So the charge that would be laid would be G1 drive unaccompanied. It would be $110. But wait, there's more. Upon conviction, a G1 driver who is violating a condition of their license would receive a 30-day suspension on conviction. For the first time. The second time, they'd get a 90-day suspension. The third time, they'd get kicked out of the program. They have to start their G1 all over again. That means when you were waiting for 8 or 12 months, depending if you were with proper instruction or not, you'd start at zero. All monies and times would be gone.
Wow.
So that, in that sense, we're kind of hardcore. Also, if you're a G2 driver, if you're anyone in the learner process of the graduated licensing system, and you get a ticket with 4 points, instant on conviction, you get the 30, 90 and kicked out consequences.
Yeah, for us here, it's with the Class 7, we base it on points. So you have 8 points as a graduated driver's license, whether it's a Class 7 or a Class 5. And as soon as you surpass your points as a learner, you get suspended for a minimum of a month. And then you have to start your probation period all over again from the start. And it's a year probation on your Class 7 here in Alberta. So with the 5 GDL, there isn't really any specific restrictions outside of having zero alcohol. You can't have any alcohol in you with a 5 GDL. So
I'm not a lot of people confused about all these numbers you're throwing out.
Yeah.
It's just like totally, wow. You know what? Having the discussion about how you have different acronyms, different, like the fact that it's not called an HTA already starts me on the road to confusion. If you're watching and you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service, and this is Ask a Traffic Cop, the show on the internet that answers your traffic and police questions. Joining me live from Alberta is Logan, who is the man with a beard who wears a cowboy hat and goes out and enforces traffic laws in Alberta. And you're with Brooks, in Brooks, Alberta, the city of Brooks specifically.
Yes.
Very cool. What else do I want to say? If you're, regardless of where you're watching, please like, please subscribe, and please also look up the folks at Safe Communities, which I've got to put up a. I said I would do it like 10 minutes ago, and I haven't done it yet. So I'm going to add a little thing here. We're going to call it Safe Communities. So, is there a website what's the best place? We got Kendra who's sitting by.
Kendra's like right next to me. She's the heart and soul of this Safe Communities program. She's like your Q, but she's our K. So I don't. She's got all the powerful messaging for that.
So Safe Communities and and it's called. Okay, wait. It's called Brooks. So I'm typing it out here. Brooks
Kendra
and
might
Newell.
chime in here in a second. think
Brooks and Newell Safe Communities, and it's at Safe Communities.
Yeah, so it's Brooks and Newell Safe Communities. Yeah, and our biggest social media platform is definitely our TikTok and our Instagram.
So what's your Instagram?
Our Instagram is where is it? Oh yeah, safe_communities_.
Insta. And I'm putting this here, safe_communities _. Okay.
We like our underscores. We like flat lines.
They are fantastic things. Did I do it right?
Yes.
We're spell checking live here. Follow them on TikTok. Follow them on Instagram. They do good stuff. And we do good stuff together. No, this is awesome. It's fantastic. Oh, we're all frozen on TikTok. Is that unfreezing here?
You're looking pretty good on our end.
Well, no, but I'm looking at TikTok, and the TikTok stream seems to have frozen.
I don't know how you do it, Sean.
I am. Here, I'm going to do this little thing. I'm going to use the other phone that I was just looking at. It looks like we are frozen on TikTok, though. Here we're going to do. Okay, so here's what things look like on right now.
I have a laptop in front of me, so that's incredible, Sean.
But it does look like we are. Let me try refreshing this, but it looks like we're frozen on TikTok, so that's not good. Oh no, we're good. It may be my computer that was frozen. I don't know what's going on. Okay, let's take another. Oh, good. CJ said not frozen, but specifically on TikTok. Yeah. All right. Mug line looks good here. Okay, no, we got thank you very much for everyone who's watching who has confirmed that it is working there. That one guy wants to know what the difference is between a police officer and a peace officer. And I'm assuming it's going to be directed at you based on the fact that you are you and you see a peace officer on your screen.
This is a question we get asked a lot. The easiest way to describe the difference between the two is, a police officer enforces municipal laws, provincial laws, and federal laws, whereas a peace officer enforces municipal laws, provincial laws, and we have few federal laws that we can enforce while in the course of our duties. So very similar. I don't have to do all the major paperwork, though.
Well, you know what? If you have less paperwork, then you are very lucky.
And I still think I have a lot of paperwork, so I don't know.
I am sure you do. Listen, everything has to be documented. There's so much litigation and not litigation, but managing of risk. And paperwork. It's not the movies. It's not the movies.
It is not. It is not.
So here, is it illegal to drive with a coffee while you're, is it illegal in Ontario to drink a coffee while driving? So we talked about this a little while ago. It's not illegal to have a sip of coffee or drink or eat for that matter, as long as it doesn't negatively affect your ability to safely operate your vehicle. That was a mouthful. And if you are, so here's the example. You take a bite, you put it down, you chew, you drive, life goes on. But if you do the same thing, but it's so good that you can't focus on driving and your car is all over the road, that is going to be the issue. Let's see here.
You have to chew, though.
You have to chew
choke while you're
choking
driving.
Is bad.
That's bad.
Okay, what do we have here? If I lend this is fantastic. Okay. If I lend my vehicle to someone and they get a red light ticket in Toronto, will I get demerit points? So do you have automated enforcement in Alberta?
We do. Some places have red light cameras. The most common one is radar cameras, so for speed.
Okay.
And there are no points with that.
So you're
it's all billed to the registered owner of the vehicle.
Owner liability. So that is the answer. And it's the same thing in Ontario. We have automated enforcement when it comes to speed and red light cameras. And those are charges laid specifically to owner liable charges. So it means that the registered owner is responsible and there are no demerit points because we don't know who's driving and it goes against your plate, not your driver's license. So I don't know how I feel about that. I think Australia's got it right where they do hold the owner responsible and do give them demerit points. And if you go to court and say, no, it was my brother Bob or my brother Doug, then they can take it up from there. And if your brothers wouldn't, take responsibility, then okay, you eat it and then you never loan them a vehicle again.
Hey, Sean, by chance, Bob and Doug, are their last name Mackenzie by chance?
They are. Did you know them?
So. I think you were going there with that.
I was going there. So here's a question for you in terms of Where was I going with it? Tamara points. No, I forgot where I was going with it. Oh well, the Bob and Doug thing threw threw me off. It's okay. It was worth it for the reference being spelled out. Red light ticket speed. Oh, Australia. Maybe that's where I was going. In Australia, they actually do give the registered. I don't know. We'll move on. Hi wants to know. Oh, what is this? I'm going to read it out now. Can a track trail drive without trailer turn signals if the front signal is visible from the rear? I don't know what that is. What is a track trail drive? So signals, if we're talking about a trailer being towed by small trailers, generally speaking, if they're so small that you can see all the vehicles' signals, then you don't need to have wires or them wired for signals. I think all trailers should have them. But in terms of if you can see the signal, it's not obstructed, I think you're okay. But it has to be based on the officer's observations and not your interpretation.
Yes.
So, yeah. And what's going on with you guys in license plates now? First of all, do you have one or two, front and back, or just back?
We just have rear license plates.
Interesting.
So, and we've just changed our license plates now to be reflective.
For the first time ever.
Yeah, so they have a reflective coating on them so that LPRs can pick them up.
Okay.
So,
and you're using the automated license plate readers?
Well, I don't know anybody in Alberta who has them, but that was the reasoning. So
okay. Well, we're now moving to a big rollout on that, so that's very cool technology. Very exciting.
Yeah.
What do we do? Oh, is it illegal? This is a good one. Is it illegal to have a dog's in the bed of a pickup truck while driving? Can you do that in Alberta?
Yes. I mean, so they have to be, so that would be covered under our Animal Protection Act, not so much a traffic safety act. So they have to be fully enclosed. They have to be tethered. There's a few things that come into play when you put a dog in the back. Mainly is they have to have adequate shelter is what it comes down to.
For
so
protection.
They can't slide off. We have a lot of flat deck trucks here, a lot of farming trucks. So they have to have sides, they have to have barriers, they have to be tethered. So if it's raining or snowing, they have to be enclosed.
I don't know. I have to go back and reference about the animal safety side of it, but and that is a big factor because obviously I like animals. I want them to be safe, and flying fur is not a good thing. But when we talk about secure loads, like if that dog could become a projectile, well, that is an insecure load, and we wouldn't allow a passenger, a human in the back. Why would we allow a dog? So I would charge them for insecure load at the very least. And tethering, I'd be investigating other things, but I don't see it very often. It's not something that's commonplace here.
We see it a lot here, just with farmers coming in town. So
those farmers, they feed us. They're amazing.
They keep us going.
Oh, it's funny that someone's asking this because you just recently covered this in a video. Can you drive a car with no doors? And you were saying that you legally, but not you shouldn't.
Yeah, so it's a tricky one because there is a section under the Traffic Safety Act that speaks to your vehicle has to be in good working order, essentially from the factory. So obviously, if your vehicle is not intended to have no doors, you should have your doors on it. Now, we have a large car community here, and if you're taking a car from one place to another on a trailer and you want to take your doors off and you want to modify, I guess there's really nothing wrong with it. But when it's on the road, if the vehicle is not designed to have the doors removed, you can't remove the doors.
Well, and that's where I'm at. A Jeep is designed, and those doors are for looks and to keep the rain out, but aren't part of the structural integrity of the vehicle. I would not want to be in a vehicle that doesn't have doors, that wasn't specifically designed to be operated that way. And
although a minivan with no sliding doors on it would be pretty cool.
Interesting.
No, I'm alone on that. I drive a minivan. I think that would be awesome.
You know what? There's lots of vehicles. Like you look at the old style food trucks and mail trucks. Those all had sliding doors that just disappeared. People drive with them open, and it's perfectly legitimate. But those, you know what? It could be cool. Is it like the caravan convertible if the doors open and?
Yeah. Just seeing a car that's supposed to have doors that doesn't have them, I think it'd be pretty cool.
We have a fantastic question from someone we've never met and isn't sitting next to you. Kendra wants to know, what are your guys' favorite part of being famous officers on social media? I'll let you go first.
I don't know about the famous part, but put it this way, I honestly, thanks Kendra for that. I just enjoy giving back to our community and communities abroad in any way we can. It's the little things about our job that make the biggest difference, I feel. We don't get to have a lot of positive interactions with people on a regular basis. So if that means doing this allows for some positive, reactions, then that's why I like doing it. I'm definitely not doing it for any fame or, this is just a bonus that I get to be with you today, Sean. So just trying to help people. So
Well, let me. Have you been recognized in your community as a result of your appearances on social media?
unfortunately, both on traffic stops, in the public, I'm at Walmart with my wife. I mean, it don't matter. But it's nice.
You know what? I've had very positive responses. I've had many meetings of people in the community who have watched and seen and know me. It's been very cool, very positive. So I got nothing bad to say about it. But it's interesting. You drive through at McDonald's and picking up a Happy Meal for the kids, and it's like, hey, I know you. How do I know you? And it's funny. So I'm 6'5", and people think I'm a short guy based on their interaction with the camera that they hold or the phone that they're holding. So every time they figure out that it's me, like, you're a lot bigger than I thought you'd be. You're a lot bigger than you are on TikTok. So that's pretty funny. But I've been recognized all over the place, and it's been wonderful. Very positive, and many people who really appreciate what we're doing. So I think it's fantastic. I love the love. But it's that we're making positive change, and we've done some surveys, and we've had fantastic feedback that we're making a positive change in people's driving. People have come back and said, where you helped me get my license, like you make me a safer driver. Those kind of things are fantastic, because if we save one life because of something we were doing, then everything's worth it.
All that matters.
Absolutely. For Winnipeg drivers, okay. I don't know about Winnipeg drivers, but let's see what the question is and see what we can do. What traffic laws should we know when we drive to other provinces, like pedestrian lanes, highway? Well, that's actually a very good question, because I don't know how things differ in Winnipeg than anywhere else, other than there's a place called Blondie's that you need to go to apparently for a hamburger the size of a pizza box. That was loud. I don't know what that was, but that was loud. So aside from the Blondie burger reference, I don't know anything about Winnipeg. Is it cold there?
I guess if you go up north, Churchill, Manitoba, where the polar bears live, she's cold. But I will say, one of the things that I get here a lot is when you pull someone over for speed and they say, well, I didn't know what the speed was. I'm not from here. That's the one I think that's the one that gets me. I'm not from here. Well, speed signs across Canada look the same. I think with the exception of Quebec, because I think they have some yellow ones, and in Quebec they do like minimum speed, maximum speed. But signage is a standard. So a speed sign here is going to look the same like the speed signs there. So the same attention you need to have in Winnipeg when you're driving, you have to have the same attention here. Crosswalks, for the most part, like I see a crosswalk sign actually in the back of yours, Sean, and it is exactly the same one we have. So
and the truth is, these are, you get your G1, you learn 20 signs. These are like international signs. These are not unique and don't require coding or a legend to be able to figure out. They're pretty simple. So the biggest piece of advice that I would give to anyone who's traveling, and I've driven all over the world, is pay attention. Read the signs. Signs everywhere are signs. You got to read them, and you got to do what they say. And there's no defense. Like I've driven in Australia. I've driven I've driven pretty much everywhere, and they're all, unless it was a country that had a different alphabet and a completely, then I would just not drive, because I wouldn't know. But within Canada, you're talking about the same basic rules. Anywhere that honors your license is probably going to have the same basic rules of the road.
And I think even when you're driving within your own province, somewhere you've never been, you still have to have the same attentiveness as you would in your own province as you would elsewhere.
But more so because you're not familiar.
Aware of, and you don't know how that municipality does their signage. You don't know what their speed limits are like. So,
speaking of speed limits, I said I was going to ask you this earlier. Demerit points start where for you?
1 over.
1 over, you get demerit points?
2.
No. Wow, we don't give demerit points until we hit 16.
Oh,
16
no, yeah.
kilometers over is when you go to 3 demerit points, but it's 0 to points when you are 15 or under, which is very interesting. So, okay, do you stop people for 1 over?
No. No.
But
you know what? I think that's the biggest contentious issue with speeding as a whole, right? We as officers never want to be like, well, we don't look at the speed or whatever, right? But Everyone speeds. Anyone who ever you pull people over and they say, "Oh, I know, I never speed, I never speed." Everyone's lying, because most people drive within the 50 to 55 range when they're driving. Everybody speeds, and here in Alberta, you can get a ticket for 1 over. So we're usually looking for our high flyers, so to speak, in our problematic areas. But yeah, 1 over, 2 points, and it goes up in increments of, I think, every 15. I think it's 14 or 15 kilometers. It goes up a point to a maximum of 5.
For us, it goes from 16 kilometers an hour to 29 kilometers an hour is 3 demerit points. From 30 to 39 is from 30 to 49 is 4 points. And then at 49, from 50 over, it's 6 points, but that's also stunt driving. Actually, stunt driving, technically, we'll talk all about, you guys have stunt driving charges too, I imagine.
We have stunting charges, yeah.
Stunting, okay, we'll get into that in just a sec. So what do you think is the minimum, the average ticket is going to be what speed? So we'll find a comparable to compare. That's what comparables are.
I'll speak for myself. The most of the time when I'm stopping people, I'm stopping for 15 to 20 over.
Okay, let's take a number then of 20. It's a nice round number.
So a 20 over ticket's going to be about $180 and 3 points off your license.
So 20 over in Ontario, if you're in a Schedule 1 area, which is going to be a regular road, not a school, not a high, that's $95.
Well, there you go.
That's with the victim fine surcharge, 3 demerit points, $95. Schedule 2, if you were in a school zone, $180. So we're actually, you're double what we are in a regular road. Do you have Schedule 2 or high risk areas that double fines?
We do have construction zone and playground zone. Only in a construction zone that is clearly posted with all the appropriate signage is doubled. In a playground zone or a school zone, it's not doubled. It is just, so our school zones and playground zones are 30 kilometers an hour. So your speed would just start from the 30 and follow the same rule as our normal speed. It would just be the charging section would be different.
How about 30 kilometers over? Do you know offhand what that ticket is?
30 kilometers over, you're looking at about $270, I believe, $270.
Okay,
roughly.
We're
and you're in the 4 points at that point.
We're at 4 points, but we're 220. But we go to 450 if we're in a zone of the zone of safety.
Yeah.
How about 40 over?
40 over, you're going to be well over the $300 mark. I think it's 340 or 350, and 5 points, I believe. 5 points.
Okay. So at 40 over, we're now in a realm where if your speed limit is under 80 in Ontario, that's stunt driving. So that's going to be take your car, you get a 30-day suspension on your license roadside, you get a 14-day vehicle impound, and of course you're charged with stunt driving, which has all sorts of magical powers in terms of because on conviction you're looking at a 1 to 3 year suspension, you're looking at a $2,000 to $10,000 fine, up to 6 months in jail. You're looking at because it escalates. If you do it again, you're looking at a 3 to 10-year suspension and the same $2,000 to $10,000 fine, up to 6 months in jail. And on the third and a subsequent, you're looking at a lifetime ban of driving. Like they're really serious about it.
And then here, it's a monetary fine up into 51 plus kilometers an hour. So at 50 kilometers an hour, which is scary because I got someone the other day in a school zone doing 50 kilometers an hour over the speed limit. That is a $495 ticket and maxes out our points at 5. As soon as you hit 51 plus in Alberta, it is a mandatory court appearance. So you are issued a summons and the judge will decide your fate, which is usually a suspension for a minimum of a month. And we're looking at about a fine of over $1,000 or so. But we still don't tow or seize a vehicle for 51 plus. It's a summons on the side of the road and you're on your way.
So our stunt driving is a summons, but it's because there's no set fine, but we take the car. And it's amazing. Here's one that one of my buddies just got.
In a
90.
Nice.
193.
Not nice, but
well, catching them is nice. The fact that they're out doing it is ridiculous. I actually think it should be criminal. And for 200 100%. Kilometers an hour, we have the option of going. We could, if it was dangerous driving, if they were doing more than just speeding. I like the idea of arresting that person and taking.
Probably a smart car, wasn't it?
I don't understand why people think that it's okay to speed to this level. A couple of really great questions. One that I want to address because I said I would, and they've asked on TikTok, and I've acknowledged them, but I haven't answered. I'm going to get to it. I'm going to get to the point. The point is, does a Class 1 in Alberta transfer to Ontario? So what is a Class 1?
So Class 1 is a commercial driver's license. Your air brakes, full endorsement, semi-truck, the whole bit. Now, any driver's license in Alberta. So I'll just give you my own example. When I moved from Ontario, I had a full G license. When I moved here, all I had to do was go to our registry office or our DMV. I give them my old license. I give them a driver's abstract. It takes about a week. They just need to make sure that your license in Ontario was equivalent to what we have here, and it's just a straight swap. So I got a full Class 5 license here in Alberta just by doing that. And to my understanding, it is the same process for an Albertan going to Ontario, I believe, or an definitely Ontario coming to here. That's what the process would be like. Now, as far as us going to you, I'm not sure. I don't have.
I think it's going to transfer. The only issue is going to be there might be physical requirements that are different. So you may have to take a physical.
We have medicals with our Class 1 that is required to renew your license. So I would imagine if an Ontario person was coming to Alberta, they would have to get another medical done. Even if they just got one done in Ontario, they'd have to get another one done here to our standards.
Okay.
But the class would likely just swap over.
Interesting. Lots of questions that have just come in. More from Sheila, who's coming in from your Facebook. Let's go here. Okay. Nice. Someone says that they love me, but I would not let anyone drive if it was up to me. That's I was called the CEO of no for the longest time.
CEO of no. Yeah. Well, that's not bad.
It's better than some things they could call me. But right. The truth is, I'm just telling people what the rules are, and the rules say you can't have a lot of fun if fun includes being dangerous on the road and breaking laws. I can't endorse or let people. I can't tell you that you can do something when you can't do something because I'm just here to give you the information.
Glorified party poopers, Sean. I mean, that's it.
What's that?
We're glorified party poopers. I mean,
party poopers, professional party poopers. I prefer professional. What do we see here? Has introduced left bike. Sorry, try this again. Has introduced left turn bike lane in front of cars. This is approved unsafe. How to report. So in Ontario and Toronto, we have some bicycle lanes that cross over and allow the bicycle to position themselves at the front of the intersection just in front of the crosswalk. I have no information as to whether or not this is safe or unsafe, but if you believe it's unsafe, you could definitely talk to the City of Toronto and talk to their engineers who would have put that into place. But I don't have a specific. I would try Toronto.com. That would be my suggestion.
We don't have bike lanes in Alberta.
Do you not have bike lanes?
In Brooks. In Brooks, we don't.
Okay. Wow. Because there's a lot of people who would move to Alberta just to get away from bicycle lanes. Here's a question about alcohol. Why is 0.0? It's actually 0.05, not 0.5. 0.05 alcohol limit used when the legal limit is 0.08. Inconsistent. Well, there's 0.05, which is illegal or not permissible to operate a motor vehicle under the Highway Traffic Act, and then 0.08 is when you get into what's not permissible and becomes criminal. So 0.05, you're going to get a roadside suspension. You're going to be suspended for 3 or 7 days, depending on if it was a first time or if it's happened again within 10 years. But that's why. One's provincial, one's federal, criminal. Yeah. And do you have the same thing or a similar thing?
Yeah, it's 0.05 here in Alberta too. I
Same
believe
deal.
As well for the yeah. I think they made that pretty standard across the board. I'm pretty sure
it makes a lot of sense. I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
And we catch a lot of people who have too much in their system and shouldn't be driving, but are driving, and both are important. And the truth is, any alcohol or any drugs, any impairment is impairment. So it doesn't matter how impaired you are. As soon as you're impaired, you shouldn't be driving. Akela Draconis, a regular viewer and friend to the show, says, "Hi, Logan, not to be confused with the other famous Canadian Logan from Alberta with the claws."
How do you know it's not me?
Yeah, really. I'm just thinking that you're not in this. I don't think is he Australian who's masking his accent for the movie?
Yes. Yeah. But you know what? That is probably the best compliment I could get. It's better than Prince Harry or Ed Sheeran. So I like.
Well, actually, somebody I saw it in TikTok. It's Ricky from Trailer Park Boys.
That is you know what? I don't know. That's a good one. I'll
I met
take
the
that.
guys. I was in Florida. They were at Universal Studios when I was there, and
It's
they were
water
looking
under
for
the fridge, Sean. Water under the fridge.
under the fridge. Okay, what is the penalty for DUI in Canada? What is the penalty? Well, aside from the $15,000 to $35,000, which is the average defense of that charge, let's read to you right from the criminal code, and I will tell you, because I don't want to give you the stuff that isn't absolutely accurate. Canada, where are we here? Criminal code, alphabetical. There we go. Okay, impaired. So, operation while impaired. Let's look at what well, it depends if we're talking just the basics. So, everyone commits an offense who operates a conveyance while the person's ability to operate it is impaired to any degree by alcohol or drug, by combination of alcohol and drug. And based on subsection 5, has within 2 hours after ceasing to operate a conveyance a blood alcohol concentration that is equal or exceeds 80 milligrams of alcohol in 100 milliliters of blood. I want to find you the consequences. And where is it? My goodness, there's a lot here. Is it not listed here? Come on. I don't want to give you bad information. I got to look it up. So I've just gone down the rabbit hole, and I don't have the answer for you because I think
Drinking and driving is bad.
Yeah, don't do it. It's criminal. Seriously. Yes. Aside from what the consequences are, it's really irrelevant. The fact is that he's bad.
The financial implications, though, like you said, like $25,000 to $30,000 on average, win or lose,
easily.
Like,
and that's and the problem is it's one of the most litigated offenses. People want to fight it all the time because it doesn't look good and it's expensive.
And in the meantime, you lose your job potentially. Your car's gone. I mean, it affects family. Like, it's just
good luck ever getting insurance again. If you want to draw, actually, because you're looking at a minimum of 1 year suspension and then an additional administrative, and you're talking like some people get into that interlock system. At like $300-400 a month to maintain that, and then you have to blow to go, and you can only drive those cars. And okay, it's bad. Don't do it. I'm gonna get myself a cheat sheet. I don't know why it's not here where I thought it would be, but you'd think that there'd be a consequence here. And the problem is I have to go deep diving into the criminal code to look it up, and I just don't want to. I've probably spent more time explaining why I'm not going to tell you the answer than just looking it up. But we're going to move on. How often do you stop new drivers, and do you warn them or give tickets? I don't know. I'm going to assume this is how often do you stop novice drivers, and do you warn them or give them tickets? So
like Alberta here. Sorry, Sean.
No, go ahead.
Anytime, because it's such an issue in Brooks where we live, if you are a learner driver driving without proper supervision, you're guaranteed to probably get a ticket for driving without a proper supervisor. And then if you're driving a vehicle that is not yours, we will also charge the registered owner of that vehicle for allowing you 100% to operate your vehicle. So
yeah, I'm down. That's exactly what I would do. So one, you're getting a ticket. You can't follow rules, and you haven't even got your full license. Then I don't want you on the road. Two, the person who lent it to you, if they knowingly let you drive on contravention of a what's it called, condition, then they're going to get charged. And if they say, well, I never let them, they took it, well, then I'm going to charge you criminally for take vehicle without consent. So this is serious stuff. You're not covered by insurance in the event that this happens. You wreck that car's gone. There's no coverage. Let's see here. Oh, here's a question. Is it legal for a member and its vehicle, which is active on shift, to be parked at night idling with no lights running, not visible on the highway side while conducting speed trap? And if not, and they stop someone for a violation, can it be, there's a follow-up here. And what is this? Okay. I get the basis of the question here. The question is, can we be parked at the side of the road, invisible, not in plain view, not announcing our place, and still do speed enforcement? And the answer is, for me, for Ontario, yeah. We don't have to announce ourselves so you slow down and don't get caught. The fact is you need to manage your own behavior and not speed. And then there's nothing for us to catch you doing.
Same here. If I'm doing speed enforcement, you're not going to see me, because the whole basis of me doing it is to catch you doing your normal day-to-day driving habits. If I'm sitting out in the middle of open in a marked PC, I'm not really going to get you doing your normal day to day.
Oh, here, Darren on TikTok. I just watching some. Someone identifies as a farm animal here. Doug. He is using a pig to describe his emotions, and I think he's trying to be derogatory, but I think he just likes cute pigs.
I like cute pigs.
Well, they're cute. Anyway, it's the emojis that a lot of people try and offend us on the street and think they're going to get our goat. No, it's okay. We're big peeps.
How can you get the goat, Sean, when you are the goat?
Oh, man.
GOAT. I spelled that right, didn't I?
I think so.
It was right off the cup. I hope I got the words right.
The dots, periods, it's an acronym. If you're new to the channel, you have no idea who we are. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service here on social media to answer your traffic and police questions. And my guest today is Logan from Brooks, Alberta, who is also a traffic person from elsewhere. Yes. And I noticed it's 11 o'clock, but we're having so much fun. If you don't have to go anywhere, we can keep going for a little longer. Make sure we get the rest of these questions done.
I am good to go as long as you are, my friend.
Okay, well, let's keep it going because this is awesome. I do have to go at some point because I'm teaching at the police college later. I'm doing a lecture on social media. We talk about social media to new people in the social media policing side of things.
That's really cool that you do that. I think that is such an important community policing now, though, is so much more important than anything. So that to start adding that factor into training, stellar. I like seeing that. That's awesome.
I like it. I like it a lot. We have a question from Sheila. Is Brooks actively hiring for members who are looking to transfer?
Not as of yet, but keep paying attention to the City of Brooks website. You never know.
Akela Dracona says, I got to bounce. I got a meeting at 11 o'clock. Stay safe and remember, don't have a good weekend. Have a great weekend. Well, thank you very much. Always the Mr. Positivity here. Yeah. We got, what is this? Oh, here is, we got Gemma or Gemma. I don't know how to pronounce the name. I apologize.
That's my wife.
Oh, hey.
Gemma. I like Gemma. It's Gemma, but I like Gemma. Let's do Gemma.
I've ruined it. Well, yeah, okay. Go on. So the question, it's more of a comment. Sean, you have really made my husband's life doing this live video. He's been like a kid waiting for Christmas morning. That's
Come
awesome.
On. I'm blushing. My face is matching my hair now.
There you go. That's awesome. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. And Sheila says we both rock. We'll have to do this again. This will have to be a regular thing, I think, because this is good stuff.
Whatever you want, my friend. I'm always available for you.
You're good to go? Okay. Honda Boy says, my friend was pulled over for tints, and then a cop conducted a test because his eyes were red. Is it legal? So we're talking about impaired testing. So in Canada, we have something called mandatory alcohol screening. Now, that is based on a drug testing. So obviously, they had suspicion, regardless of what the mandatory alcohol screening laws say. If I see that you may be, or I have reason to believe, suspicion that you may be under the influence of drugs or alcohol, then I am well within my rights to make a demand for various tests. But yeah, and pulling someone over for tints. What's the tint deal in Alberta?
I was hoping you were going to ask me this. We have a law that says you can't have any tint. There's no limit. There's none. You can't have any.
I like that.
So if it comes from the manufacturer, and we get this all the time. Well, I bought it off the lot. If it's not from the manufacturer, you cannot have it. Same with front windshield. A lot of people like to put those brows on the front. Can't have it. You can't put any glazing on your front windshield or your side windshields. Your back ones, you want to make them like a limousine, all the power to you. But so your front driver side, passenger side, and your windshield, none. A lot of people
directly left and right of the driver.
If the fire department has to break it, it doesn't break. But the biggest issue is, especially in rural Alberta, we don't have a lot of street lights. And when you're trying to look out a pitch black window, you cannot see pedestrians. You cannot see properly. It impacts your visibility. So no, you can't have it at all.
Amazingly, our eyes operate primarily on light.
Who would have thought?
when you reduce the amount of light that gets to go in the eye and bounce off the optical nerve in the back, they don't work as well. So if you reduce 50%, you're seeing half of what you should be seeing, and that leads to issues. Now, we have a couple of laws. We have safety standards here that say that you can have no more than 30% light blockage for the windows directly left and right of the driver, and nothing on the front windshield unless your vehicle was manufactured before 2017, so 2016 or older, and they allow the 3-inch brow. And new cars can't have them at all. But you can have the windows in the back as dark as you want because, hey, why not? But in Ontario, you can't even have reflective or color coatings that obscure the interior. So you could lay a charge for basically anything, but that's not reasonable. We're pretty reasonable about this. So if we can see you and you can see us and we can identify you, we can see if you're wearing a seatbelt, using your phone, doing what you're doing, then it's probably going to be fine. If we can't see you, and you're going to get not only the ticket potentially for your unsafe tint, making your vehicle unsafe for the road, meaning you could lose your license plates, but additionally you could get the other ticket under the HTA for so one's unsafe and one is the obscure interior. Yeah. So very cool weed, and it's perfectly legit to do the test. Yeah, just a long way to get that answer. Max ticket for driving without a license present is a min or max conviction. I'm not entirely sure what you mean, Mir.
Maybe like if you're driving and you're pulled over and you don't have your driver's license with you.
So let's go both ways. And I'm curious to know what the fine is, because in Ontario, if you fail to surrender a driver's license upon the demand of a police officer, it's a $110 ticket. Just failing to surrender it.
We blow you out of the water on that one, Sean. We're $243. And that's the thing for failing to show proof of registration or insurance. And a lot of people have this stigma, and I don't know if I think a lot of it stems from officer discretion. Some people assume that, well, I can just bring it within 24 hours and prove it. That is solely discretionary on the officer to do that. Yeah. So, I mean, yes, we can check if you have a driver's license based on the information you provide us, but you have to have it with you. Not at home, not a picture of it on your phone. You have to have it with you.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that we have the same. So the deal is that 100 years ago, maybe 50 years ago, well before I was a copper, you had this 24-hour standard thing. And they were paper tickets, and the officer was being nice. But the moment you fail to surrender it for reasonable inspection, that is the offense. If I have to do the homework now to figure out what you didn't do, I might be able to verify that you're a licensed driver, maybe. But at the end of the day, you have committed the offense, and showing it to me later means absolutely nothing. Yeah. Now, you said it's $100. It's the same fine for ownership, which for us is going to be $110 as well. If you forget your permit, or you can't surrender it. It doesn't matter if it's at the bottom of your glove box, and by the time we come back with a ticket, if we've written it, we've written it. We could take it back,
right? You have to have it.
Reasonable at a reasonable amount of time. And then the insurance, we've actually changed the insurance. So the driver's license is the actual original card. When we talk about the permit, it could be the original or a photocopy. We call it true copy, front and back. That's an acceptable option. We actually suggest people use a copy in their vehicle so that no one steals their car and has the original document, which they then forge and sell the car. So that's a thing. I personally don't leave any documents in the car because I don't want people to know where I live. That's just me. The last, though, is insurance. Now, Ontario has changed the laws for insurance cards. You can provide an electronic copy, not a photo of, but an electronic copy that is provided from the insurance company. They have an app.
Yeah, and we have the same here now, and that's recent as well. And it's got to be, and you get people that just take a picture. It's like, no, it's got to be a digital copy from the insurance company themselves. Right. And then, so if they don't show that, it's $243. Or even if they show it, but it's expired, it's a potential $243. But if we find out that there is no insurance, it's a minimum $3,000 fine with a mandatory court appearance.
You're a deal for that, because so first of all, we're a $65 ticket if you don't surrender, but immediately. So we're super cheap on that. But if we believe, and if it's reverse onus. So if we believe that you don't have insurance, or we confirm and verify and then late charges, either way, it's on you to prove that you have insurance. So we can send you to court. It's a $5,000 to $25,000 fine range, up to 6 months in jail. It's a serious go. For no insurance. And we have a 3-year window to lay that charge.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we have 6 months.
6 months is for all of our Highway Traffic Act stuff, but
yeah.
this is the compulsory
All through
automobile association. I can't say anything today. It's the compulsory automobile insurance act. That's it. Think about that.
And I think ours is 45 days in lieu in jail if the fine isn't taken care of.
Oh, really?
By the due date. So there's always a time in lieu if the payment isn't made within the prescribed date that the judge sets. I think it's minimum 45 days or something. So
Big Jeff Fresh says, so from everything I've heard so far, Alberta might have some higher fines, but Ontario has harsher consequences. Interesting. Because we are known to have
picking up on that too.
Yeah, it's not just Big Jeff Fresh.
But I think, and that's a good point though, because when I first started working out here, I even wondered that myself. And a lot of the things that I've heard is that because we have such a very diverse culture of our work here, so whether it's farming or the oil field, the oil industry, everyone is driving. Everyone is on the go. Mm-hmm. If we seized every vehicle we stopped, even rightfully so, it's for a dangerous driving act, there'd be no farmers. There'd be nobody going to the oil.
But does that suggest that you've got a lot of people breaking the law?
I'm not going to say a lot, but I think that's why a lot of those, like the seizing of vehicles, and that I think that's maybe why it's not in place, because it would directly affect potentially our economy.
I'll tell you why we have it. We have it because if the consequences are left to court and people play games and hire lawyers and extend things for years and years and years to play the game of will I get off by the officer not making it, and they have a high chance of getting out on technicalities, the costs to the public and the risks to the public safety are so high that the province, and they said this in interviews, I'm parroting what I read in an article, that they had to put administrative fines or consequences immediately, because that way you're getting some consequence even if it doesn't go anywhere afterwards.
Yeah. And I agree with that, because that's one of our biggest problems we see is them taking, when we go to court, we'll get tickets that are like almost 3 years old that are borderline charter infringement, because people just want to keep delaying them in hopes that either we don't show up or we get tired of the delay and we just toss it.
It's games.
I get it.
Blasted Yogi TTV says, does cops have the right to take your plates? I was told they weren't and have to have MTO to take them. So in Ontario, the Ministry of Transportation owns those plates, and we as agents for for them, essentially, we can seize your plates and return them to the ministry. Apparently, we're not supposed to make a wall camp. No, we have a liaison with the Toronto Police that works with the ministry. Everyone returns them to that liaison. The liaison returns them to the ministry. But absolutely.
Same here. Improper use of a license plate, doesn't matter what it is. We can seize a license plate as long as it's covered under the TSA. And then we have the right to either return it to the registry office, or depending on why the license plate was seized, hold it until you have remedied the problems with your vehicle, and then we can give it back.
I love this question. Why not answer my question? I didn't see your question. I don't see your question. I see the question asking why I don't answer your question. So I don't know what's going on. I'm scrolling back. I'm like, you know what? I actually had. Here, I'll flag it. You did. It got lost in the stream of stuff. So I will answer your question. But I love that. Usually there's no question, and they just anyway. Here's an interesting one. Can I drive from Montreal to Ottawa with my Nunavut license? Well, it's interesting that you ask that way, because each province has different rules about residence. And the fact that you're not driving from Nunavut makes me wonder, are you a resident in Montreal? Have you moved? Because once you move, you have a certain responsibility to change your driver's license and apply for a local one. So if you are if you're from Nunavut and you're traveling through Canada and you become a resident in Ontario, you have 60 days to apply for an Ontario license. So if you're in Montreal, for instance, and you're a student there, you have different rules because you're not a resident when you're a student in Quebec. What is the deal in Alberta?
Same. Like, I think even in that example, like if someone flies here from Nunavut and flies into Edmonton and they rent a car and they want to drive to Calgary, course, you can drive on your Nunavut license, but as soon as you take up residency here, I believe we have 30 days.
See, 30 days for us. We have 30 days to register your vehicle, but we have 60 days to get a license, which makes no sense to me, but whatever.
Yeah. So it's the same thing. But I mean, if you're just visiting or you flying in somewhere, maybe you can, it's Canadian driver's license. As long as it is a full valid license, then you're pretty much good to go. I mean, we get a lot of people from the US. We have a really popular hockey team here, and we get people up from Colorado, Nevada, California. And as long as they have an active driver's license, they're good to drive.
They're good to go. What if I have legal tints in Ontario, but I get pulled over in Alberta? So how do you deal with people driving through? I get this question a lot.
So, here's a really good point. And as much as it is another contentious issue, is officers have the ability to use discretion. So if I see that you have an Ontario registration form, and I know that Ontario allows a certain amount of tint, I'm going to exercise my discretion. I will tell you now that if your demeanor in the vehicle is not one of a nice, pleasant individual, you may get a ticket because it is still against the law in Alberta. However, most officers, I think, would utilize their discretion properly and take into account that where you are from allows it. So,
but if it's so dark that it's dangerous,
well, then it's different. Yeah.
If it's blacked out windows, I don't care where it's from. It shouldn't be on the road, and then you're looking at problems. And I've had people remove their tints roadside so they can drive home.
I've done that with brows before, or like full-on windshield coverings.
Or stickers? How about stickers? Decals.
Yeah, decals. We got in trouble for a decal video. You probably seen it. Everybody gave us crap because we said decals and not decals.
Well,
yes.
I like. How about battery versus battery? There's so many different ways to pronounce things, and I love the fact that everyone has disagreements. Somebody lost their mind because I called the FGX the Fred Gardner Expressway. As people said, they just said, "What do you mean? It's called the FGX." No, it's called the Fred Gardner Expressway. Anyway,
those letters mean something.
They do. They're acronyms. Sheila says, I thought there was a speed of 10 over and under difference for the allowance of tire pound ratio to cruise control or plus weather allowance. So you thought there was a 20-kilometer range before people would get pulled over? Is that what you mean? No. You're responsible for the actual speed of your vehicle, regardless of the accuracy of your speedometer or the tires and the impact that tires may make in your ability for your vehicle to know how fast it's going.
And this is really good because I actually pulled someone over yesterday for speeding. And one of the first things out of the mouth is, well, I think my tires are too big and I haven't calibrated it. And I said, well, stop talking because that's also an issue. So if you put tires on your vehicle that may impact the way the vehicle operates, you need to make sure that those tires are calibrated to your speedometer because you are still responsible for the speed your vehicle is traveling.
Yes, the actual speed. Yeah, a good way to go is when you have a GPS. The GPS will tell you likely the accurate speed, or more so than the potentially inaccurate, thing. Akela Draconis, who has left, but this has been lingering in the inbox. He says, Sean is the CEO of No until yesterday. Now I might be known as Cupcake. Yesterday I put up a video. I was home. I had to stay home for unforeseen circumstances. And as a result, I put up an animated cupcake explaining that the show was not going live yesterday, but that you would be coming to join me today. So,
I absolutely loved it. And personally, if you could have an emoji over your face right now with a
cupcake is what it should be.
Yeah, like a little filter.
Right. I'll work on that. What's the penalty for screen display visible to driver ticket for G2 driver? In Ontario, it's the same $615 as if it was a G1 driver, a G driver, an M1 driver, like anyone. It's the same charge.
There's very rare charges in Alberta that pertain specifically to the class of license you hold. That would not be one of them. That would be a distracted driving charge regardless of the class. So,
yeah. Here's a great question, and it segues into something else that's an issue. Is it illegal to put rhinestones on your plate cover? Gene wants to know. I like that you're trying not to laugh. But
plate covers, as to start with, you're not allowed in Alberta. You're not allowed to have an obstructed license plate. So if you have a tinted license plate cover, you can't have that.
Can you have a clear one?
A clear one at face value, if it is clear, and I mean clear, and you can maintain it that way, and it does not obstruct the vision of your license plate, technically, yes, because the law doesn't say you can't have a license plate cover. It says you can't have an obstructed license plate. But in Alberta, with our county roads or gravel roads, they get scratched, they get dirty. It doesn't take very long for those clear license plate covers to obstruct your plate. So we don't recommend having them at all. But if it's beyond clear one, you can't have them.
There's also an issue with polarized ones, which look clear to the eye, but are polarized to prevent cameras like automated enforcement. So technically anything over it for us would be an issue. We're not hanging out looking for clear covers all day long. That's not the focus of what we do. In Toronto especially, we're focused on the big four, looking for people who are putting lives at risk through their behavior. But it is an issue. And we've also seen the advent of electronically operated covers that will tint on a button press to be totally opaque or to flip plates. Those are all prohibited. But I do want to talk to you about something else in a little while, and just reminded me, radar detectors. So we'll talk about that in a second. But, that's something that we definitely differ on. We have, let's see here. Oh, why do we have 3 years to lay charges? What can happen in that time to justify it? So this is going back to the Compulsory Automobile Insurance Act in Ontario specifically. In the event that we're doing an investigation, we pull you over and you give us a card, and on its face it looks good, but you get involved in a collision, or you were involved in a collision, and through the course of that investigation while it's going through court, we find out that your insurance policy was not valid at the time. We would be able to lay charges after. So if we thought we had a case against you today, we would lay the charge today. But if it took a while during the course of an investigation to determine that you were in fact uninsured at the time that you were stopped, that's why we're given the extra time. It's a serious charge. What is? Okay, we already talked. So it was Teke that asked, and I actually answered it already. Didn't we answer this? We got one version. Here's another version. But we talked about it. What is the penalty for screen visible display for G2 drivers? So same thing. It's the $615. And people often ask, and I'm sure you get the same question: what is what's the issue? Why is it a big deal? Like, our infotainment system has our heated seats and our air conditioning and everything you ever wanted to know about satellite radio. And if I can look at that, why can't I look at my screen on my phone? And even more so with Apple AutoPlay and Android CarPlay, when you can, or I guess it's CarPlay on both of them, but you can control your phone remotely. So what's a big deal? Well, one has specific laws that say you can't do it, and the other one doesn't. But you can still be charged with careless driving for using your infotainment system. Yeah, and that's I think cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do we have here? We have Devin. Is there a fine for driving a deleted truck in Alberta? I heard you're not supposed to delete it. If you delete it, doesn't it disappear?
Yeah, exactly. Just completely camouflage. No, so what a lot of people do with their diesel trucks here is...
I forgot I had a button.
Oh, we need buttons. So it's the DEF. They delete the DEF from the diesel truck. And it's supposed to help with fuel economy. To my knowledge, we have nothing that speaks to that. We also, if I'm pulling over a diesel truck, the last thing I'm thinking about is does the truck still have its DEF system? So
we've got an Environmental Protection Act, and we do have muffler requirements. I don't know what a DEF is. I'm not that guy that's into the diesel world, but we have commercial vehicle inspection officers, and we have people who are specifically looking for this all the time. If you get rid of your resonator, if you're rolling coal, I don't know what that translates to, but all these things are
illegal. What that means. Rolling coals, when you get rid of that DEF, there's a way that they can accelerate the vehicle, and you will get a massive black plume of smoke that will completely blind everyone on the road. Well, that would be a stunting charge for us here.
Oh, really? Okay.
Specifically for the black coal, to my knowledge, there's nothing in the Traffic Safety Act that speaks to that.
Well, there is excessive smoke in Ontario's HTA.
Yeah,
and it sort of goes into the whole thing, and it relates to this, because how much is the fine for a loud exhaust? And so we have. In Ontario, well, what does it work for you? Do you guys do the enforcement for loud exhausts and things like that?
Well, there's two actually. So we have a under the Traffic Safety Act, there is one for having a loud exhaust. And then we have one for vehicle cause or make unnecessary noise. So there's actually two that can be used depending on the violation. And their fines vary. I think the exhaust one is $150 ticket, and I think the cause or make loud noise is in the $200 range.
Oh, you're higher than us, because unnecessary noise, and that includes smoke for some reason, because noisy smoke, I don't get it. But it's in the same thing. It's $110.
Yeah.
And but not having a proper exhaust system is additional $110, if not more. So it can add up pretty quickly. We have a follow-up question in regards to G2 drivers and cleaning the points after they got a distracted driving charge. The answer to how you clean it is 2 years after your conviction, it will be removed, points-wise. There are demerit points depending on how many times you've been charged. It goes up. If you also, as a G2 driver, reach a certain threshold, you're going to get suspended. So don't do it.
We have a program in Alberta that people can get up to 3 points off of their license. It's an Alberta road safety course you can take. I think it's like $110 to take the course online, and you can get up to 3 points back within your 2-year period. Yeah. So
interesting.
Cam Woolley would be proud.
Very nice. Well, there are some education programs here for certain things. I don't know. I know that they teach it. I don't know the deal with it, but you know what? The goal is not to have to be told you have to take a course. If you have to take a course, if you reach that point, you probably shouldn't be driving. Just guessing. Darren Fair says, it's easier for SGI just to say no and then not have to justify individual cars and such. I don't know what you mean. SGI is an insurance. I think but they're the provincial insurance for Saskatchewan, I think.
Yeah. And they do registration and insurance together.
Yes.
So I don't understand the rest of the question, though.
Nor I. But I appreciate that you jumped in. Oh, wait. This is Darren's very busy chatting on TikTok, because I see his name scrolling here. So he's multi. Oh, no. It was actually the host that carried over. And it was CJ who put part of his conversation in. But I don't know the whole thing. Devin says, I run loud exhausts on my ATVs. I get a fine for that, even though I'm in the woods not using it. I don't know what the story is. I'm not an off-road guy, so I don't know. But I do know that I've got like a week's worth of dad jokes. Logan, what do you think of dad jokes?
Can't have too many.
Okay. Well, before we hit a dad joke or two, Andre Peltier, did I say that name correctly? Peltier. I think I'm correct. Hopefully I'm correct, because otherwise I will feel horrible. But thoughts on radar detectors. So we started talking about that, and then we forgot and moved on. So in Ontario, they're illegal. In Alberta?
They're legal.
I don't get it. Why are they illegal? Why? Please tell me the thoughts.
You know what, though, to be honest with you, you could have the best radar detector in the world. By the time we turn it on and lock you in and turn it off again, I mean, we're still going to get you.
But do you use radar at all, or is it laser that you're using for your speed enforcement?
So I run a Stalker Dual DSR radar on my dash, and then my handheld is a Stalker LiDAR. So we use both, and both are equally as successful.
Your mounted vehicle is probably for moving radar,
moving and stationary, depending on where we are. And then our handhelds are for pretty much everything. And the handhelds are more accurate because it's point and shoot, indicator on the bumper.
It needs less justification in court. It's easier to convict.
Yeah,
but at the same time, because it's all about the skills, Joe. When it comes to radar, radar is an art.
Yeah, if you get guys that just run it, and then if you're just running it, then you're going to give away your position in your radar. But if it's off and you do your estimations properly, then you can turn it on, lock it, and turn it off very quickly before someone even has the chance to have their detector go off and hit the brakes. So, I don't know why we allow them personally. I mean, it is what it is. I've pulled over a lot of cars for speeding with detectors. And so they're obviously not doing very much. So,
how about how about jammers? Do you see jammers a lot?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know the big deal with jammers. I don't know what they do. I'm assuming they're supposed to jam my frequency.
What they do in particular with laser is they send out a signal that suggests they're traveling at a particular speed. So if it's a 60 zone, they put They tell it to go, or if it automatically changes to keep you 20 kilometers under, whatever the case is, they will project a false speed to a laser speed measurement device. But what people don't understand is that when we do speed measurement, at least in Ontario, we are confirming our independent observations. So if I see you speeding and you're pulling away from everybody, and I hit your car and it says 60, then I hit the car next to you and it says 60, but you're pulling away at a rate that is at least 20 over, I know you're speeding. And I don't have to, people don't understand, the offense is speeding. Whether you're doing 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, that's for calculating the fine. I know you're speeding. I can pull you over for speeding.
100%. We have the same thing. Yep.
It's amazing. It's amazing how that works. But two pickles fell out of a jar onto the floor. They had to deal with it.
I like that. I just like because of the pickles. I love pickles.
I do like pickles too. Kendra, are you a pickle person? Is Kendra into pickles?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yes.
You have not spoken nearly enough this live. I feel odd right now. What do you call?
I had my time on our last live. We had the social work questions outnumbering the policing questions.
Oh my.
Last one. So Logan actually
I got to save my voice.
Yeah.
Hey, that works. Here's a question. Is it illegal to wear a police uniform from a movie while driving in public? So you are an actor, a background person, someone who is playing the role of a police officer. Aside from the fact that you are impersonating a police officer potentially, because you may just be someone driving home, but if you are perceived to be a police officer, your life might be in danger. One. Two, you may find yourself getting pulled over and investigated. In a military uniform, it's actually an offense just for wearing it.
Yeah.
But police uniform, it's a little stickier than that. I think they'd have to prove what your intention was. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what your intention is. It's extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
So don't do that. At very least, if you're an actor, go into costume and change. Or if you're an actor, put something else over your police uniform and don't be seen in public wearing it. That would be just a bad thing to do. What do you call a lazy baby kangaroo?
Me?
You? You're a lazy baby kangaroo? A pouch potato.
Oh, I like that one. Are these your jokes?
No, these are from the calendar my wife bought me.
Oh, that's awesome. My father-in-law is all about dad jokes every day. I'm working on it. I'm working.
Now, do you have children right now, or you're working on your first?
We've worked on the first one, and it has arrived 4 years ago almost.
Oh, hey!
And then we finished working on the second one, and we are now in the incubation period.
Fantastic.
2 months left.
Some may argue that it's still work. You know.
Yes. Yeah. So we're expecting a girl, actually. So
Ooh.
I'm doomed.
I think that's a fantastic way to go. Girls are awesome.
It'll ground me a little bit more than maybe I was before.
Well, your hair might change color though.
My beard's already going white on me there, Sean. So
I'm already there. Everyone teased the snowman about his long and pointy nose. Luckily, he didn't care it at all. Wait.
See, I can laugh. I think they're funny.
Well, they're good.
Yeah.
I don't use these nearly enough.
You should.
I'm going to start using them more. February 21st.
You have like a soundboard?
I have a Rodecaster Pro, Rodecaster Pro 2, which is a soundboard. It's a mixer. It allows me to control all my microphones, and I have several of them here. And then
that's where you're pushing the computer.
That's where I'm pushing So I got some music. I got. Let's see here.
Now.
I'll send you a spec sheet. I got all this stuff here. Okay. Tuesday's thing said thing. This is the one from Tuesday. It says, "Son, I think there's a hole in your sock." What? No, there isn't. Well, then how did your foot get in there?
My son would say that both ways because I always have holes in my socks on top of the main one.
On top you have extra. Okay, well this one's good. I like this one. I don't like Russian dolls. They're so full of themselves.
Because they go inside.
They're called nesting dolls. You put one doll inside of the other ones. Minaj says, "Why do they call it rush hour when nothing moves?"
That is a good one.
And Richard G says, "Welcome to the girl life, Logan."
Thank you. I am looking forward to it.
Okay, we got. Minaj says, "Why did the tomato turn red? Because it saw salad dressing." I like that one. That's actually really good.
There's your
Yeah, I like that one. What do you call a disinterested snowman? A snowboard.
Snowboard. Yeah.
And last but not least, for February 24th, 2023, I was clearing the snow off the driveway with my son today. He looked at me and said, "Dad, I wish you would just use a shovel."
Where's your wah wah wah? Yeah, it went over my head, Sean. I'm not.
He was clearing the snow off with his son.
Oh, see?
Please use a
Not
shovel.
all smart. No.
Oh my God. Okay. Darren says, "Do you know when bird fly in a V, why one side is longer than the other? Because there's more birds on that side."
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
You're a hard one to make laugh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You know what? Some of these are so that's actually a good one. I don't know. Should we delve into the Saturday Sunday one or leave that for the? Okay, I'm going to read it. Oh, yeah, okay. This one's good. This is good because you're in the incubation stage, so we'll go with it.
Oh, there we go.
Mary had a little lamb. The doctor fainted.
I would faint.
Oh my goodness. All right. Yeah. That's listen. It is. We've gone like way over the 1 hour, but I've had a blast doing it. We've been on for an hour and 36 minutes. This is definitely longer than a normal live stream for us, but it's been a lot of fun having you on here. Yeah, we don't really do an hour, and this is an hour and a half, or more than an hour and a half, so it's awesome. Let's see here. Dylan had follow-up questions. Is it illegal to wear a police uniform? No, we talked about that. Is it illegal? Oh, blah, blah, blah. Is it illegal for someone to own an outdated police uniform? There are laws coming into play based on recent activities in Canada, where having a police uniform or something that can be misinterpreted as a police uniform may in fact become illegal and restricted. Dylan says, "What do you call a police officer riding a horse in Canada?" We've gone from questions to jokes, but I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the punchline. He didn't put the punchline in. I would guess
that's one of the really cool things about living here in Alberta, especially in the southern part. Like, it's not uncommon to see horses going down the street here with riders, not stray horses, and getting coffee at Tim Hortons or doing their day-to-day.
In a horse.
Yeah,
on a horse, not in a horse. In a horse would be a problem. On a horse is why did the officer go to art school? To learn to draw the chalk outlines better.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. What is this? Oh, Big Mike says, "I thought I told you petty cops to stay off TikTok." Sorry, Big Mike. I don't think I
don't have my hearing aids in today. Sorry, I can't.
Yeah, but you don't have to watch, Big Mike. But I will tell you that the more you engage on our platform, the more TikTok thinks you like us. So we'll probably be seeing a lot more of you.
We appreciate it.
Jesse Doyle wants to know if he's a bad person for having 5% tint. Bad person?
No, you're not a bad person because you have tint. You just
someone subject to the consequences of having the tint.
I give a lot of people speeding tickets who are actually very nice people who have just done something very bad or have made a mistake. Doesn't mean they're bad people, though.
I will tell you that I think dark tinted windows look cool. They look cool.
Oh, they do.
There's no question. I'm a car person. I'm a motorcycle person. Yeah. I like a good-looking car, and I think tinted windows often look better because when you see the person in it, the car looks less cool. The car is cool, and then you put yourself in it, and you're less cool because it
makes it tasteful. It can be a very tasteful look with nice tint on it.
But I also acknowledge there's safety concerns, and there are laws that prohibit the use. So show cars that don't go on the road, I tint them all you want. They don't go on the road, but you have to comply with the laws when you're on the road. Here's always I do love these questions that say best way to get out of a ticket. So let me ask you this.
Don't get
Let's,
caught
let's
and don't
don't
do
get caught. No, be responsible and pull over. Dang it. But I will say this. The deal is when you're pulled over by police, what happens or by an officer of the law is be polite, take responsibility. You know what? Not every interaction with a law enforcement officer has to result in a charge. Very often it will, because serious offenses need serious charges. But if it's something minor, we do have discretion. And if you're polite and take responsibility and don't have a history of doing it, you might get a warning. And if that's what you mean, like how do you avoid getting a ticket? That's a really good way to do it. If you say that we're lying and that you weren't doing what we're saying that you did, probably you're going to guarantee that ticket's issued, because you're not going to convince us that we're wrong.
Yeah.
We're kind of professionals in the area who focus on seeing things and writing them down. That's all we do. We see things, we write them down.
And I mean, the thing is like, most time we stop people, there's normally multiple offenses that we can end up finding on that stop. A lot of times we stop people for speeding or any other offense. A lot of times you get a lot of documentation issues that could cause other fines. Mm-hmm. And your demeanor and the way you approach us on the side of the road can largely dictate whether you get 2 warnings and a ticket or 3 tickets. So
even though you're good for all the tickets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're eligible.
And that's where that discretion comes in, right? And just being, like John said, take it on the chin, I think Kendra has a question she wants to.
She has a question.
In there. I do. So. Someone is texting us a question to be answered on the live.
Okay.
They want to know why tint is illegal.
Well, we kind of covered it, but we'll happy to go over that. It's because it reduces the amount of light that is seen, and as a result, you see less, and that makes it dangerous. Now, additionally, we need, as police and even the public, need to be able to see in to identify drivers. We need to be able to see if you're wearing a seatbelt, because that's one of the laws we're enforcing. We need to see if you're using your cell phone, because that's one of the laws we're enforcing. We need to be able to identify the driver, because we want to make sure that and for Amber, we have Amber Alerts. Do you have Amber Alerts?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
So Amber Alerts, we want to see. We might be looking for a particular person, particular drive. Like, there are reasons to be able to see, and you're not entitled to privacy in your vehicle. And even though people say they want to pick their nose in private, and that's the reason they need tinted windows, they don't actually need tinted windows. It's got nothing to do with the safe operation of the vehicle. It's all about looking cool. Now, some people make the argument that it reduces solar load. It's less wear and tear on your air conditioning because it's cooler in there. Their eyes hurt, their skin hurts, their whatever the reasons be. But those are not justifications. Now, here's a question: do you have medical exemptions in Alberta for tint?
To my knowledge, no. I have never seen it. I've never even heard of a doctor issuing one, so no. Because it's like, you could get a letter and be like, well, how do I know you didn't just do that, right? So there would have to be it would have to be attached to your driver's license when we ran it, or it would be a condition on the back of it, and it is not. So
there's a question here: were you ever in the military? I have not been in the military. Have you ever been in the military?
I was in the Army Cadets for like a month.
A month?
But no, I haven't. And that's not to take away from the work our men and women do serving us. So no, I have not.
I just blocked Big Mike because he was asking us, he was calling us out for hand-to-hand combat. Oh. So I think Mike has to take some time for himself. Okay, we've covered the dad jokes. We've covered the questions. We've covered everything. Kendra, anything that you want to say, talk about dad jokes?
Mm-hmm. Dad jokes. I have one really terrible joke.
Is it safe?
What's it called when the prisoner takes their own mugshot? A selfie.
A selfie.
Give her the wah-wah.
There it is.
Or maybe we should have gone with crickets.
Yeah.
Yes. You got cricket. Oh.
Yeah, or it could have been.
You're letting me down, buddy.
I'm really enjoying it. Now, that's really enthusiastic applause. It does other cool stuff. Like you can do. I can do the megaphone thing.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Cool.
Or what is this big robot? I can be a robot. It's really useless. That one is.
You don't, Sean. You don't need anything to take away from that sultry voice you have.
Oh my!
Keep it all natural, buddy.
Jeez.
Everyday Sun says cops are tops. That's a perfect way to end this and not talk about voices or beards. We won't. But I will say, keep rocking the beard, brother. I make you. I should grow mine back, but I don't know if I can pull off yours. Like I just shaved mine not too long ago. I had a beard for a while, but I take. Nah, I don't know. We're going into summer. I think I'm going to stay aerodynamic.
Yeah, mine gets a little shorter in the summer, but
okay, that's reasonable. Well, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure for everyone who is watching and don't know who we are and what to do. Logan is with Brooks Newell Safe Communities. You can follow them on TikTok at Safe Communities, Instagram at safe_communities_, which is a very unique underscore pattern that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
But and then there's and also on Twitter. I saw you on Twitter too. Safe, it's a different acronym, short formy, but you can, if you type in Safe Communities, you will find them because I did. Yes. Oh, we got lots of people coming in with more questions, but I must say that being that we're approaching an hour and 45 minutes, I got to go. But it has been an absolute pleasure. We'll have to do it again. And thanks for hanging out. Thanks for
thanks for having me though, Sean. This has been amazing, and thanks to everybody on the Ontario side of things that have been watching in and seeing a different face. I appreciate it. Appreciate the good questions. So
yeah,
we've got to do this again, Sean. We got to do it again.
I would very much like to do that. I would like to figure out why you're pixelated, though. I want to figure out why it's no worky to the same, because we got to make you. People deserve to see that the quality of the beard.
Okay. Well, our internet down here is not always the greatest, so
I don't know. It's weird.
We'll find a different studio.
Yeah, that's it. We'll figure it out. Not to worry. But again, thanks very much. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. To anybody out there who is planning on having a party this weekend, going to be enjoying, maybe having a few drinks or something legal. If you're going to drive sober. No drugs, no alcohol when you're driving. You don't have to be over the legal limit to be impaired. And that's something that many people just don't understand. And when you've gone down that road and end up hurting somebody, yourself or someone you care about, there's no undo button. It's just done. So don't go there. And even though Aaron's not here, park legally, because Aaron will have a conniption if you are not parking legally. Do you guys do parking stuff?
Yeah, we have a bylaw officer, Henry Clausen. He's one of our bylaw guys. He's awesome, and that's what he does.
What's that? You have one parking officer?
We all do it, but we have one
specialist.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was going to say we got to talk about how big they need to expand.
Yeah,
two double.
There's a total of 3 of us. There's 2 of me, and then 1 of him. So.
This is things we'll have to do a whole follow-up show just to talk about how many of you there are.
Yeah.
All right.
There's only one of me, Sean.
There's only one you. There you go. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thanks again, Kendra. Thanks for setting it up and asking one question and waving. Actually, and the joke. I appreciate the joke too. All right, we're gonna have the outro music because I got a button I can press. Join us Monday when we're back doing the same thing. Well, maybe not with Logan, but we'll be back anyway doing the Ask a Traffic Cop thing, answering your traffic and police questions for that full hour. And that's it. That's all. We're out. Take care, Logan. We'll talk to you soon.
Cheers, Sean. Take care.
It is so cool to have guests. And then Logan, hang out for a second in the green room there. When we go off, we'll come back and chat for a couple. But just a reminder that we do this on all these platforms all of the time. So follow us on social media. Follow us on the Twitter and the Facebook and the YouTube. Trying to really expand on the whole YouTube thing. I think it's gonna be cool. Have a good one.